Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Government House, Yarralumla. Dawa Nuna, Dawa Nunawal. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather and recognise any other people or families with connection to the ACT and region. I respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and this region. And I also acknowledge and welcome other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who may be either attending this afternoon's event or watching online. My name is Paul Singer and I'm the Governor-General's Official Secretary. And as this badge signifies with its cross quills, I'm the Secretary for the Council for the Order of Australia, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General in the General Division. The Governor-General is both the Chancellor of the Order and the Principal Companion of the Order. I'm also the Secretary of the Australian Bravery Decorations Council, the body which makes recommendations to the Governor-General for Bravery Awards. Before we start the ceremony this afternoon, I'd like to acknowledge among our distinguished guests, Commodore Shane Glassock, representing Chief of Navy, Major General Anthony Rawlins, representing Chief of Army, Air Marshal Robert Chipman, Chief of Air Force, Superintendent Paul Flynn, the Superintendent from ACT Fire and Rescue, Dr Rachel Bacon, representing the Commissioner, Australian Public Service Commission, and Ms Lynn Duckham, representing the National President of the Order of Australia Association. Welcome all. The Australian Honour System provides a wonderful mechanism through which we as a nation can recognise and celebrate ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And since its inception in 1975, almost 400,000 people have been recognised for their meritorious, bravery, military or national service. The Order of Australia is the principal means of recognising outstanding service. And it's important to note that nominations come from all areas of the community. Anyone can nominate. Today is a special day, not only for the recipients, but also for their families, their friends and their communities. It's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. My colleagues here at Government House and I are privileged to play a small part in that recognition, and we look forward to making this afternoon an occasion you'll recall with pride for a long time to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley, and then please remain standing and join in the singing for the first verse of the Australian National Anthem. The investiture will then begin and proceed in the order listed in your programs. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter from the doorway on my right, and after they've been invested by the Governor-General, they'll depart via the central aisle to take up their seats at the back of the room. And it's at this point you might like to show your appreciation with a short applause. At the conclusion of the investiture ceremony, the Governor-General will say a few words, and now I'll invite the recipients to join with Her Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs for an official photograph. And at this point, I invite the guests just to remain briefly in the room until the recipients and Their Excellencies have departed. And then we'll invite you into the dining room, and if the weather holds, out onto the lakeside terrace where refreshments will be served. So ladies and gentlemen, please relax and enjoy this very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, please stand for the arrival of Her Excellencies the Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia and Mrs Hurley, and the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please be seated.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to our guests this evening or this afternoon, and particularly to our recipients and families and friends. I'd also begin by acknowledging the Ngunnawal people and other families associated here with the custodianship of the land around Canberra. If you're Canberrans, you know how beautiful this part of the country is with the Madji, the Brindabella, the Murrumbidgee, and we do thank them for looking after it for us for generation after generation. So as Paul has said to you, this is such a significant day here in the life of Government House and indeed of our nation, as we recognise and celebrate those who have made significant contributions to advance our country and support the well-being of their communities. For the recipients, some of you in uniform, you won't be nervous at all on a day like today, but it's a day with a bit of apprehension. It's a day when we dress up. You can see the military is in their finest, and so it should be. This is an enormous day of celebration and thanksgiving. So please enjoy the occasion, but do relax, allow yourself to breathe, and we'll all get together at the end of this to celebrate. We're going to acknowledge people from a wide variety of professional fields and endeavours, both at the professional and the community level today and in the following ceremonies we'll have this week. When we see the group come through today, really think of it as a microcosm of what's happening out in our community. It's the tip of the iceberg of what Linda and I, for example, are privileged to see every day of the year. Last week up in Brisbane, Lismore, Ballina, visiting communities after in the recovery after floods and so on. It's so uplifting when you see what's happening in the broader Australian community. It makes me enormously optimistic for the future of our country. The quality of our people is superb. I don't want to press the point too hard, but perhaps I should. I know that people who receive medals in the investiture ceremonies that here at Government House and other government houses don't do it for a medal. 100% of them will be saying, we don't do this to be recognised like this. We do it because we see work that needs to be done. And just as importantly, all of them will not stop working after today. This is not a full stop. This is a big semicolon, perhaps. Pause, celebrate, continue to give. And that's the nature of each and every one of our recipients today. A couple of points about the Order of Australia. As Paul has indicated, we have two divisions, the General Division and the Military Division in the Order of Australia. Military Division, we see quite a number of those here in Canberra, given the nature of our military population here. The General Division represents our broader community. Every person who is acknowledged in the Order of Australia and in the General Division has one particular characteristic about them. And perhaps it's a unique characteristic of our honours and awards system. They only come to that door or a similar door in another government house because someone in the community has nominated them. Ours is not a top-down system. I don't sit down twice a year and make a list of superb Australians who I think should be recognised, nor does anyone else. We depend entirely on nominations coming from community, from your peers. So for the children here and the adults as well, I'm going to issue some homework after the formal ceremony. You don't expect homework at Government House, but you're going to get some today. So I want you to watch and listen and think what that homework work might be. But it's just so important. We cannot recognise our fellow Australians and their contributions without nominating them into the system. And we'll talk more of that at the conclusion, as I say, of the formal ceremony. Could I say a special message to the families of the recipients today? Linda and I know how this works. You do not reach the point of recognition without support at home. So for partners, family that are here today, this is very much your day as well. We are honouring you through investing each of these individuals. As a nation, we're grateful for what you allow, promote, support to happen in this country. Thank you. Now, please relax, enjoy the occasion. You're being given directions when you can applaud. Don't worry if you get a bit out of sync. It is Government House here in Australia, and enjoy this very special occasion in the lives of everyone, really, who is sitting in this room today and watching. I'll now begin the formal investiture ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, to be presented with the insignia of her appointment as a Companion of the Order in the General Division, Ms. Catherine Livingstone. For eminent service to business, particularly through governance and strategic reform, to tertiary education, to science, technology and innovation capability development, and to the arts. Ms. Livingstone is a remarkable Australian who has made a significant contribution through a wide range of roles in business, education, science, and the arts. She can be considered as a trailblazer for women in society. As the first female president of the Business Council of Australia, she focused the organisation on a major reform and growth agenda. As chair of the CSIRO, she drove flagship initiatives around the national science agenda and the commercialisation of Australia's research capabilities. In her current role as Chancellor of the University of Technology, Sydney, she's been committed to improving innovation in the technology and STEM areas and has overseen the growth of partnerships with industry. Ms. Livingstone has shown leadership and resilience and been tireless in her support of organisations that contribute to the richness and betterment of our society. Ms. Catherine Livingstone, appointed a Companion of the Order. Appointed an Officer of the Order in the General Division, Dr. Marianne Horak. For distinguished service to entomology, to taxonomic and cyclogenic research, and to philanthropic endeavours. Dr. Horak is an internationally recognised scientist and entomologist who has spent her professional career understanding the biodiversity and biology of Australian insects. She's devoted almost 40 years to the building and development of and conducting research in the Australian National Insect Collection at the CSIRO. She's made major contributions to the discovery and taxonomy of the nation's diverse range of butterflies and moths. Her discoveries and achievements have won many international awards, and she was the first woman to receive the Carl Jordan Medal from the Lepidoptera Society, testament to her standing in insect research community. Dr. Horak is dedicated to fostering the careers of other scientists and has established an endowment trust that will support vital research in Australia well into the future. Dr. Marianne Horak, appointed an Officer of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Associate Professor Alan John Collins, for service to medicine through a range of roles. Professor Collins has made a significant contribution to surgery in Australia and internationally. While a general surgeon in the Bega Valley for almost 23 years, he's also been teaching surgeons in his specialist field of breast, thyroid and parathyroid through education roles at the Australian National University's Rural Clinic School. His expertise in thyroid surgery has extended to many African countries through the Mercy Ships program. With his distinctive medical skill set and expertise, he's changed the lives of many people, particularly women. Professor Collins is held in the highest regard by his peers and patients and has provided selfless commitment to improving the lives of others. Associate Professor Alan John Collins awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Dr. Benjamin Field, for service to osteopathy. Dr. Field has dedicated himself to the health and well-being of the community for more than 20 years. As the director of the Canberra City Health Network, he's worked tirelessly to facilitate a path towards better health and function. He's also established a clinical student placement program to improve the transition of osteopathic graduates from university to professional clinical life. He's been involved in a range of research studies and allied healthcare during the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Field's efforts and achievements are most deserving of our recognition. Dr. Benjamin Field awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Lois Maiden, for service to primary and early childhood education. Mrs. Maiden has been a passionate champion of music education, particularly in the areas of primary and early childhood. She served diligently as a volunteer music teacher of the Totem House Early Childhood Centre for almost 10 years. Drawing on her professional teaching skills and experiences, she's delivered engaging, educational and enjoyable music lessons to children at Totem House. Mrs. Maiden has been an exemplary role model for children and other music educators. Mrs. Lois Maiden awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the General Division, Mrs. Catherine Walker, for service to education and to the community. Mrs. Walker's contribution to the education landscape in the Yass region and beyond has been significant. Her leadership of the Country Education Foundation of Australia since 1999 has been most noteworthy, and she's been energetic in her commitment to a range of education organisations, including the Yass District Education Foundation and the Mount Carmel School. In addition, she's set us a brilliant example with her continuing contribution to the aged care sector for over 30 years. Mrs. Walker is an asset to the community and she epitomises the values of giving back to others. Mrs. Catherine Walker awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the Military Division, Commander Stephen Bliss, for meritorious service in the fields of joint and combined exercise design and evaluations. Commander Bliss has demonstrated exemplary dedication to the joint collective training environment. As the Deputy Director of Evaluation in the Modernisations, Assessments and Insurance branch, he was vital to the development of the Joint Task Force and theatre-level warfighting task models. He also initiated training programs to fully prepare team members and mentored personnel across all ranks. Commander Bliss's commitment has greatly improved the preparedness of the Australian Defence Force and raised the importance of evaluation effect across the Joint Force and broader defence. Commander Stephen Bliss awarded the Medal of the Order. Awarded the Medal of the Order in the Military Division, Captain Jacqueline King, for meritorious service to the Australian Defence Force in seaworthiness, explosive ordnance, safety and policy. Captain King has been involved in the Australian Defence Force explosive ordnance at the executive level since 2000, when she led the Navy Explosive Ordnance Engineer Restructure project. She was instrumental in the development and delivery of defence seaworthiness for its alignment with the National Work Health and Safety legislation, particularly during the introduction of the Canberra-class ships with helicopter landing docks. After transferring to the Navy Reserve, she continued her exceptional service by leading the implementation of a principle-based framework to establish a regulatory operating model for explosive safety and policy. Captain King has made an exceptional contribution to our Navy and our Defence Force. Captain Jacqueline King awarded the Medal of the Order. We move now to the Conspicuous Service Decorations. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Colonel Michael King, for outstanding devotion to duty as the Commanding Officer of 7th Combat Signal Regiment. Colonel King has built a platform for advancing Army's information warfare capabilities into the future. In his leadership role with the 7th Combat Signal Regiment, he initiated and led education initiatives and forums on network integrity and management. He worked with the 1st Regiment to forge procedures for secure communications between gunline and command post, and he pioneered a model to facilitate tracking of Army training level skills. Colonel King's passion and critical thinking have directly enhanced the generation of combat signals capability in our Army. Colonel Michael King awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Wing Commander Brett Clark, for outstanding achievement in international engagement in multinational five-power defence arrangements forum through development and advancement of communications information systems. Wing Commander Clark distinguished himself as the head of the Communications and Information Systems in Headquarters Integrated Area Defence System in Malaysia. In that role, he improved the way the Five Powers partners communicate by expanding the facility into a collaborative, multinational network. Additionally, he drove the expansion of the United States Cooperative Maritime Forces Pacific Communications System, a network used by 27 nations for classified information exchange and exercises. Wing Commander Clark's achievements are in the finest traditions of the Australian Defence Force. Wing Commander Brett Clark awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. Awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal, Warrant Officer Class 1 Megan Griffiths, for devotion to duty as the Chief Clerk, Defence Signals Intelligence and Cyber Command. Warrant Officer Griffiths has demonstrated meritorious devotion to duty while serving in the Defence Signals Directorate. Responsible for 400 military personnel, she established the administration and governance processes for the new Defence Signals Intelligence and Cyber Command. She managed a considerable administrative burden for the command as it emerged as a new formal structure. Warrant Officer Griffiths' efforts have greatly improved the retention and employment outcomes for a scarce workforce, and she has enhanced the delivery of intelligence to support defence and the Australian Government. Warrant Officer Class 1 Megan Griffiths awarded the Conspicuous Service Medal. We move now to the Meritorious Service Awards. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr. Paul Jones, for distinguished service to the New South Wales Rural Fire Service. Mr. Jones has served in a range of fire and emergency management roles throughout his 39-year career in New South Wales and the Australian Capital Territory. He's managed many challenging fires across multiple jurisdictions, and he's recognised as one of the most experienced incident controllers in the state. His skills have also been in demand internationally, particularly in Canada, Malaysia and Singapore. Mr. Jones currently represents the New South Wales Rural Fire Service on the Australasian Fire and Emergency Services Council Urban Operations Group, where he's been instrumental in improving infrastructure and developing member skills to ensure the highest level of service to the community. Mr. Paul Jones awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr. Gerald Mardorf, for distinguished service to the Australian Capital Territory Fire and Rescue Service. Mr. Mardorf joined the ACT Fire and Rescue in 1997 after having served as a firefighter in the Royal Australian Navy. Since that time, he's demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the study, training and practice of fire investigation. He's recognised expert in the field and, due to his expertise, he was selected to be a member of the Australian contingent tasked with providing fire investigation training to military officers in Thailand and to members of the Iraqi police service. Mr. Mardorf's efforts have significantly added to the safety of the ACT fire and rescue crews and to the wider community. Mr. Gerald Mardorf awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations this afternoon.
We've acknowledged each of our recipients individually. I think it would be appropriate now to acknowledge them as a group. Congratulations, all of you. Well done. I'm often asked why people can't hear what I'm saying to each of the recipients. In the entire process, from nomination till today, this is the only time I have in private with them. So it's between me and them. If they want to talk to you about it, please do. But that's a period I like to preserve, so I can say a few words to them. To homework, particularly the general division again, you've seen at the community level what people are being recognised for, the type of achievements and contributions they've made. You know people in your community who are doing exactly the same thing. The homework would be, go home, think about who they might be, nominate them. It is not a difficult process. My job, or my successor's job, will be to mark your homework. And we'll do that by seeing them come through this door and investing them with a medal. So please think about it. It is your system. It does not work without your nomination. While you're thinking about that, a couple of points. Over the last 3 years or so, we've been able to significantly increase the representation of women in the Order of Australia. That is so important. We are now full steam ahead to increase multicultural representation and Indigenous representation. The Order of Australia lists that come out twice a year must reflect who we are as a community, the demographics of Australia, and the contributions that people are making. So please put that into your mind as well as you are thinking about nominating. It all begins with a nomination. Again, to our recipients, congratulations. To your families and friends, thank you for what you have provided. I might often in ceremonies say at this point, they receive their bling today, they might want to take you shopping just to say thank you. I leave that between the two of you. But we do recognise families, thank you for the significant role you play. And now we look forward to celebrating with you. So congratulations, and again, our deepest appreciation for what our recipients have given to their country today. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to assist with the homework that the Governor-General has set this afternoon, I do encourage you to access the online nomination form, which is available on the Governor-General's website at www.gg.gov.au. And as the Governor-General has said, we look forward to welcoming those that have been successful through that process at an investiture such as this in the future. I now invite the recipients to join Her Excellencies out on the state entrance stairs, and for the guests to head through to the dining room and out onto the lakeside terrace where refreshments will be served. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the departure of Her Excellencies the Governor-General and Mrs. Hurley.